Greetings, I'm Solidus Skully, and welcome to the corrupted world. Oh no, the religious symbol is upside down, meaning Satan. Well, yes. But on more serious notes, yes indeedy, this is the corrupted world. I mean, I suppose we could basically just call a spade here and just call it the other world with the serial labels filed off, but, to at least pay slight lip service and to at least disseminating what the corrupted world is apart from the other world, well, yeah, this isn't so much, yet again, darkness and evil born from the subconscious of the mind, so much as it is from a more spiritual power. So, yeah, in other words, it's basically Silent Hill. Well, with that little hop-along guy now safely taken care of, we can pretty much get this show on the road. We have our two pieces of the heart, we have a mysterious door that can't be opened, which, again, you thought you could open with a liberal use of the crowbar, but alas, the gears are rusted. There is no way we can work this. And of course that door is sealed, but yeah, the corrupted world. A rust-slicked, gory version of the world we knew before. Though I will say, they don't quite get as much use out of the corrupted world as I think the game probably would have done otherwise. Whether that's just purely down to it being an indie game, I'm not too sure, but in the meantime, we've got some puzzles to pad out our time with before we continue on. And as you can no doubt tell, with this being centered around a female protagonist, quite naturally, our plot centers around birthing babies and boobs, as we saw earlier. But yes, indeed, as you can probably tell with the peripheral material on, Maria Wildberger's pregnancies and, the Tismit mythology that we heard before, yeah, children, particularly twins, have a certain bearing on the plot. And they are part of the reason why the corrupted world even exists to begin with, because their blood, of course, quite naturally being suspected of being supernatural, is the reason why this power exists. So, yeah. It's levitation, Holmes. But anyway, since we've given the baby the heart of the baby Jesus, that naturally translates over to the real world, which again is very much playing into the game's duality segment, and in some ways I can't help but feel like this is Silent Hill Origins done right. Because, I mean, again, you have the mirror dimension, but you also have puzzles affecting one world affecting the other, and again, as you saw, now that the woman has had her heart transplant thoroughly transplanted, yeah, it works quite nicely and lends itself very naturally into the game's design. It's very organic like that. Now to the East Wing corridor. Holy fuck, this is the long loading time. What is this? It appears that the woman is in peril? Do not worry, after this loading screen, we shall save you! Mysterious heart transplant woman, who obviously isn't very mobile, and what is this? She's gone. But where could she go? Yeah, maybe she went off down to the pub. Who knows? But, yeah, we pretty much have nothing more to do here. Because now we have finally, gotten all the necessary items to make it to the main hall. Which will pretty much give us, and again, what's going to be encompassing most of this part, get your bearings segment, which, for those of you familiar with this in Resident Evil terms, is basically get your lay of the land, run around the place, get supplies, items, and, well, just take a look at some puzzles yet to behold. Off we go. What is this? Caroline has disappeared? And yet the, T thing is moving on its own. I don't know, like one of those weird details they kind of included from the Resident Evil remakes, I guess to show off the graphical fidelity of what happens when you use items or whatever, but I don't know, it involves a character disappearing for some reason. Oh yes indeedy, its Resident Evil influences worn well on its sleeve. Not just only that, worn on a t-shirt, pasted all over the billboard, all over its bedroom presumably, even with the music here. Which, I mean, I will admit is actually a beautifully composed theme, and you might be thinking we could just escape right now, but oh dearie me! An unusual key design preventing us from leaving. Now, of course, we could just smash the windows and make a break for it and call the police, but Caroline doesn't really have that much sense and is, quite driven to find the girls. Again, you might be thinking that this woman is driven to an almost suicidal fault, but there is a reason for that. which again, as she mentioned beforehand, was primarily her nightmares and headaches. So yeah, it seems there might be a deeper connection. At least for those of you that are savvy and have seen literally any narrative device in your life at all. The main hall. And you can tell with a calming theme like this, truly there's going to be no enemies that show up in this hall ever at all. There's going to be no scenario like in Resident Evil where you open the door and the dogs come bursting in, or even give you a bit of a boo jump scare like in Resident Evil 1, the OG version that is. Late game stuff. And a disc. I wonder where that could lead. And of course, that's very late game stuff, leading to a mausoleum. And quite naturally, since this is a horror game, yeah, you probably don't want to go down there. Especially considering how prone Caroline is at this moment, since she cannot fight in darkness. Perhaps, if she had a keyblade, but she doesn't. Her nail gun will have to suit her for now. But yeah, to talk about a few weapons that you get in the game, you are going to be getting more than the nail gun, obviously, but yeah. I suppose in many games of this ilk, you might be expecting, you know, New Game Plus to kind of bear a lot of fruits in terms of its, well, you know, what you're going to be getting. Yeah, unfortunately, you're not really going to be getting much in terms of unlockable weapons. There's no Hyper Blaster, there's no Ray Gun, Hyper Spray, Laser Pistol, or anything of the sort. But there is one unlockable weapon, something that you can actually unlock in your first playthrough if you happen to cheat through the internet. But yeah, otherwise, the end of the game pretty much shows you how to unlock a certain other weapon. And you will actually be seeing that in a couple parts' time, because I had a recording fuck-up that basically meant I had to re-record some progress. So, yeah, for those of you who wanted to see Caroline wearing some pants and getting a sexy ultimate weapon of sorts, then, well, that might just be your lucky day. But regardless of such, we've pretty much seen all that we need to see in the main hallway, so let's unlock some doors and look at the chapel, so that we may pray to baby Jesus. And yes indeedy, if you thought that you were going to be safe otherwise, no, there are still enemies pretty much crawling about here. The only enemies you really have to worry about, again, since as is typical of pure gaming structure, you are gradually introduced to tougher and more difficult foes as you go on, so yeah, for the time being, you really just have to worry about your basic hop-alongs and your, claw fingers, which is pretty much the name that I'm finally going to call those wheelchair dudes. But yeah, what I said before is pretty much going to stick here, and again, go for the strategy of pepper 6 bullets into the hop-alongs, use your crowbar, bada bing, you do the thing. But of course, you do need to keep a careful eye on your, nail gun ammunition, because as I said, many a time in Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Tormented Souls, on the patio, wherever good times are had, yeah, if you get a bit trigger happy with your ammunition, you're gonna find yourself running out pretty quickly. Though then again, that is pretty much up to your own volition, something you're not really gonna know on your first playthrough, so yeah, just be very careful. Or I suppose maybe you could master the dodge mechanic and pretty much go at the entire game just using the crowbar. Oh no, somebody has killed the baby Jesus. Who could have done such a thing? Which, I mean, is sort of a viable strategy in terms of, you know, avoiding damage, because, I mean, there is a trophy and achievements you can unlock with, you know, avoiding taking damage, avoiding saving, and completing the game in, like, 3 hours' time, as is your typical survival horror thing, but sadly we cannot get a maximum soda. Oh, I'm thirsty. And there's no beer. Or Pepsi, because I guess in this universe, Maximum Soda is the one drink of choice for the Wildberger family. But anyway... by the way, ignore that little flashing bit of light on the tray there, that's not an item, I think it's just there to indicate that you can interact with it, although I don't know why that's there, since, well again, that's usually meant to be something you indicate for items you can pick up, or at least as like an optional, what would you call it again? No, not quality of life. Shit, I forgot what the terminology for it was. But basically the sort of thing that's there to help players who might be like vision impaired and need a bit of extra help spotting items that they otherwise wouldn't be able to see due to depth perception. I can't quite remember what the term is at this point, but yeah. Anyway, this is another save room, but yeah, I mean, apart from having a save of the game and once again witnessing an ominous message, which makes me wonder, and I'm speaking in terms of spoilers here, who the hell placed it there, or why they felt the need to do so. Yeah, it's quite bizarre. I mean, obviously, having finished the game, I have an idea as to who it might be, but even then, the timing of the whole thing does seem a little bit, bizarre, so again, I might cover this again once we get towards the late game, but at the same time, though, it does also bring to mind, like, a bit of a plot discrepancy, really. And I mean, like, I'm not going to say that Tormented Souls is, you know, completely airtight in terms of its narrative structure, or even some of its continuity here and there, but, you know, the game is still a pretty good ride while you have it, so, yeah, maybe I'll just stay my tongue in that, and we'll enjoy exploring around this creepy mansion. And I mean, primarily, it's areas like this that really do kinda, or at least for me anyway, on a first playthrough, that really got my blood pumping. Again, like, I mean, you hear enemies just off screen, again, you know there's something out there, there's something in the dark you can't fight. And again, your source of light is something that you treasure, so again, like, you really gotta be on the ball, and it just created a combination of elements that really made my hair stand on end, and just made me excited to facing off against enemies. Like, I didn't want to go off exploring in the dark, but my curiosity was getting the better of me. I wanted to beat the game, and again, that's the sort of thing I think Tormented Souls really excels at. Like, again, it's the sort of thing that I don't really tend to experience with a lot of other horror games, and as I mentioned previously, it's the only sort of thing that games like this can provide. I mean, again, like, even having to go into the darkness just to tempt the claw fingers, you know, in spite of them having to go grog, shaky head in the Masahiro Ito way. Like, I mean, again, I'm taking him out relatively easily here, but, like, I mean, it's the anticipation of it. Like, getting needles in your skin with wounds that will not heal. It just, I don't know, it creates a lot of good tension in my eyes. Though again, unfortunately, the claw fingers tend to take a few more hits than most, so, it's a bit of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Like, I mean, you really do have to balance between, okay, do I want to stay safe with my healing items, or do I go guns akimbo at the risk of having less ammunition and basically leaving myself up shit creek when it comes to the real boss encounters? And again, like, I mean, it's that level of item management that really does create a lot of complexity in the gameplay, and, you know, why these sorts of games, I think, still have an appeal. But what is this? It's a pipe that seems to look more like an air compressor gun. Oh, well, I'm sure that'll have absolutely nothing to do. This, however, I think does kind of show some of the weaknesses in games of the Resident Evil Silent Hill ilk, in the sense that if you think outside the box a little bit, you know, you see this rope right here, you think you could just use the lighter to burn the ropes off, and, you know, use the crowbar to pry it open. Yeah, doesn't really reward points for ingenuity. Seems we need some sort of cutting device, which you might have thought that we would have found, like, we could have just gone to the kitchen to get a knife or something or other, but no. We have to get plot-specific item to do a thing. Which, I mean, again, I don't know whether to really put that under, like, a fault of the game, since you do require specific items, or, like, a... I don't know. There are just some things that games like this really don't, apply for. By the way, don't waste your ammunition on taking out the hop-along in this area, because, well, there's really only one reason to be here, and though we're going to be taking a few hits, you really only need it for this diary. A young child's diary. Yes, indeedy, this is Anna Wildberger, the illustrious daughter of William and Maria, and of course sister to Emma, one of the two girls that Caroline received in the photograph. And this is primarily talking about, well, probably the most traumatic incident in these two girls' lives, where, well, they were pretty much taken hostage by the figures bound in leather, which was something that young William saw when he was a child as he followed his dad down into the mausoleum. And of course, this is pretty much covering the, well, in brass tacks, their mother pretty much freed them, tried to help them escape from the creepy occultic radiation suit dudes, and, well, yeah, they pretty much got separated from one another. Emma ended up falling to her seeming doom, and, well, yeah, Maria was captured, Anna was captured, and basically life for the Wildberger family was pretty much left up to shit creek, all of which happening while William Wildberger was off on a business trip. So, yes, to any prevalent fathers out there, don't leave your family on business trips, because otherwise they're going to be kidnapped by occultic people, and, well, you're just going to be a bad daddy. So, yeah, basically don't do it. And you might be wondering who the perpetrator behind all this is. Well, we're gonna be finding that out very soon. So yeah, that's what Caroline is here to find out. But I mean, apart from that, there really is no other reason to go into here apart from lore completion. Because, I mean, in any other playthrough I probably wouldn't have risked the hits, but this is a commentary and a reviewy thing, so we're gonna show off the footage. Otherwise, I will die of embarrassment for not showing the game good and proper with the peripheral materials and the journal completion and the lady with the glaven. So yes, indeed, you can kind of see it scrawled right there, but yes, Anna, that poor girl, is that little bald hop-along Anna? I'm sorry. We'll leave you to your bathroom break. I know you don't have any legs, but you do still have a butt. Try peeing and pooping out of that butt. Now you might be thinking we might be able to explore the rest of these rooms, but no, the rest from this point on are locked, because future progress and stuff that we still need, and it's of course here where we begin to meet, well... Okay, we meet the knights in shining armor, don't worry, no, they're not going to come to life or attack us in Resident Evil 4 fashion, but no, instead we meet a roadblock. Not a literal roadblock, but basically the real tormented souls. I have no idea who this man is, but dear god, I feel sorry for him. You can't get past him. You might be thinking that you could just tank a hit and run through, but no. Caroline will pretty much receive some knockback and, well, she won't be able to go through. You might be thinking you could just get the crowbar out and whack him a few times. After all, 40 whacks with a wet noodle, Caroline, but no, she can't hit anything. And again, if you stay idle for too long, the darkness will take you away. Even though we've pretty much killed all the enemies in the area, we're just taken away, because, fuck it, amnesia was cool. Or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much our lay of the land. We'll be coming back to this area much later in the game, and get quite a bit of use out of it, but for the time being, we've done all we can. We've gotten our nails, we've read Anna's diary, which she'll no doubt be very angry with, because we read a young lass's diary about all her innermost secrets, talking about boys and all the fun-filled things she likes. But yeah, in the meantime, we've got more things to explore. There's a bit of a reason why this part is as long as it is, since it is a very lengthy gameplay commute, so I do apologize if I'm a little bit more rambly than usual, but you know what, I figure we might as well pass the time with some rambly antics from the Solidus Skully. And of course, we see the sandal, the untying nymph, by a guy that I completely forgot, but yes, indeed, that also has a puzzle. Something that you might have seen a little x-ray of back in the little study room that we were in before. Right next to the save slot. Anyway, this is the meeting room. I don't know who was having meetings in here. A mysterious hatch. Well, I'm sure that leads to nothing in any way morbid. And of course, if you check the calendar here, yes indeed, it's 1994. And, yeah, this hospital is still inhabited, so it does explain why a lot of this hospital does seem to have, like, current, well, okay, I say current day technology, but I mean technology relevant to the time. God, it feels kind of weird saying this in 2022, because, I mean, as we can see here, I don't think most people have, VHS players anymore, and if they do, they're probably locked firmly in the basement, the shed, or the attic, or whatever, and, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, again, this hospital is still inhabited, like, I mean, people haven't completely transferred out yet. It's just that, well, this place does mix between, you know, 1960s decor and, well, the present 1994 day. Oh yes, guys, Woozle Wuzzle. Anybody play that Sonic and Knuckles? Yeah. I'm 90s. How about that Kurt Cobain, huh? Sure he's gonna live forever? I'm gonna stop that now, that's getting a bit, depressing. Let there be light. And again, you might be thinking those knights were gonna attack you, but, no. They're just there to keep you on edge a little bit. And also act as a bit of a subtle hint as to what's to come. With the pride of the lion. But anyway, now that we do have daylight, we can pretty much show you exactly what you need to do with these poor gentlemen. Yeah, you're pretty much gonna hit them until they will sag down. By the way, they don't die, because even when you pass by them again and again, you can see them twitch. God, these really are the true tormented souls. As you can tell, people have been experimenting on these gentlemen here, and, well, yeah. In terms of continuity and context, actually, what happens to them is actually quite grim. In some cases, they might deserve it, but some of them, I really have to wonder. Makes me feel a little bit sad. Oh, but whatever, we have a map. Finally, and slowly but surely, we are filling up our lay of the land. But anyway, we have another, slicer to take care of. Yeah, they kind of look like slicers, so whatever. And they also let out some of the most pitiful screams. I'll let you listen to them right here. Oh my god, that poor guy. I just wanna... Well, I mean, I guess Carolyn is technically putting them out of her misery, but... God, that's so disheartening. So yes, John Gilby's creation leads to the truth, so, apart from needing one of those door knockers, because, you know, we've got to be polite and not barge into rooms like some sort of common criminal, yeah, we also need to figure out the password. And, since we saw a heartbeat and that little x-ray chart back in the study room, I got my mind a-thinking. And by the way, word of warning for much later in the game, do not enter the penthouse unless you are absolutely ready with everything that you need to, because, well, let's just say you are pretty much opening yourself up to, death. But, yeah, that's kind of jumping the gun a little bit. Let's head into the sewing room, which, seems to have been Maria's little home away from home. Like, I mean, she has, bits of a fashion sense here, she has paintings, a stethoscope for some reason, and yeah. This was pretty much the meeting of the artist and the doctor, which was primarily Maria's, well, hobby, so to speak. Again, she seemed to be a bit of a seamstress, creating dresses for her two little children, and of course, you know, loving the paint, as you'll probably be seeing here. I mean, being obviously not a woman, I really don't know, like, the sort of stresses and depression that probably comes from trying to bear so many children, especially, you know, failing to conceive children, that sort of thing. With the toll that it would take on you, I can see why it would have taken a bit of a, you know, toll on her artwork, but, yeah. Eventually, slowly but surely, she found the will to paint again, and I'm sure everything is going to work out absolutely well for this doting woman. Oh, even Maven. Although, then again, like, I mean, as you could probably tell if you examine some of the paintings, Carolyn herself seems to be, quite the astute artist, so, yeah. I mean, she seems to know her stuff, at least in regards to the artists, you know, the close approximations to the paintings from their original creators, so, yeah, who knows, maybe that's something Carolyn can bond over. Or maybe Carolyn is the mother. After all, we're looking for these children, so could it be that Carolyn and Maria are one and the same? I don't know how they are related, but I will find out. Well, it's kind of weird that she kind of takes the piss out of abstract art, but yeah, whatever. Maybe the duality frightens her. But regardless, if you can put two and two together, now that we have the stethoscope, we can pretty much use this to, well, examine a heartbeat. And of course, that also means we get to look at some boobs made of stone. And by which case, we're also examining the heart, which has nothing to do with boobs! I should really just save that for Kingdom Hearts, it's getting rather perverse at this point. Or maybe it's just to make up for the lack of commentary. You decide. Also, did you notice that object that stuck out from the foreground? Yes, indeedy. That was because I missed a morphine thing that I could use to inject myself and literally have all the drugs. Bam. But yeah, we're not gonna be continuing on with plot stuff just yet. Because that would require, well, padding out for time or ending the episode early, and I just can't do that. Primarily because I want to get, well, a lot of the stuff out of the way good and proper, and, well, I think getting it without at least some sort of plot progression, you silly sausage, would kind of feel a little bit shallow. Yes, indeed, more doors, more stuff. And now what the fuck are we doing? Well, you know what, let's go to the kitchen and get a bite to eat. Maybe it'll help Caroline refocus her thoughts, as it will mine. Well, this kitchen certainly isn't getting a good review. By the way, this is meant to be a hospital, so, yeah, it's clear the cleaning staff haven't been here for some time. I mean, look at this. An empty fridge with what looks to be bottles of Jägermeister in there. Some off tins of peas and Spam, I think. Creepy messages left on the board. Seriously, who's leaving this? I mean, I know who is leaving them, but, like, at the same time... whatever. Maybe they were just here to grab some human remains to have for dinner. I don't know. I mean, Caroline could learn to cook for humans. Or maybe cook for 40 humans? Whatever. Maybe we could just go for another sloppy Jimbo. I'm sure the warehouse will nourish us some more with, more cans of cheese. Yes, as you probably couldn't tell with my cautious movements. Yeah, there's another clawfinger, so let's get out our gun. And, again, if you thought that these enemies couldn't climb upstairs, well, they can. I mean, the clawfingers have a long enough reach, and the hopalongs, well, they're not exactly too prone on their own, but, yeah, they can climb stairs, which can be quite frightening. And you'll be seeing that later in the playthrough as Caroline attempts to run away, run away, run away, run away. There we go. 40 whacks with wet noodle, Caroline. Provided you don't get slashed up like bitcheroni. And again, this is also a very long game kind of thing, which also contains a puzzle that I tried to fiddle around with much later in the game, but I ended up discovering that, yeah, there is only really one solution, even though it doesn't quite make as much sense as I think it should. But again, to put it in brass tacks, it pretty much involves a computer, as you are seeing right now. But yeah, we need a floppy disk. Yeah, you hear that, Resident Evil 2 Remake? A floppy disk, not a fucking dongle USB key, because our audience of fucking fetuses are literally so juvenile they can't even remember the fucking medium of storage space we used back in 1994 or 1998, you piece of shit. Modernized, cock-sucking, dick-fucking, piss-spewing, 2010 internet angry video game nerd, lingo, assassin, dork. Where was I going with this? I have no idea. But, basically, yeah, floppy disks. Woohoo. Well, I mean, really, the storage capacity was kind of a bit pish, but then again, this is 1994, so, I mean, I suppose apart from saving, like, text documents for whatever workplace you might have been to, yeah, not really much use to anybody, really. I mean, you weren't exactly saving, like, games or movies or whatever on it like we do these days, but hey, you take what you can get.
Let's go to the closet. I hope I don't come out of one of these.
But yeah, this is also for a puzzle much later in the game. Not that you'll really be seeing this version of it much well, but yes indeed, it seems that batteries are afoot, dun-dun-dun. But yeah, anybody who knows anything about batteries is that, they take quite a while to charge. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to be getting much use out of that. Well, unless of course we're going to be spending quite some time in this mansion, which I get the impression we are. Because Caroline is driven, and, well, it seems I, Solidus Skully, am just here for the ride. You know, as I try to make all my descriptions in the playlist. Like as if I'm some phantom guy, like, right next to Caroline, begrudgingly joining her on this adventure as, like, a creep of consciousness. Anyway, use the stethoscope on, this savage nymph here. And, yeah. They will knock 4 times. Basically just follow the pattern of knocks, not that you could really hear them over waffling commentary. And, yeah, with the door knocker in place, you'll pretty much have your answer. And we go onwards to new adventure. But of course not before we get a little bit more mythology, well wait, that'll be a little bit later because I'm jumping ahead a little bit in my editor's timeline. Morphine. You are indeed my Jesus juice, or rather hellish juice, because you are a drug, and therefore forbidden from the Bible. I mean, I'm sure Father Christian Man will probably have some negative things to say about that. Taking the Lord's name in vain, whatnot. Yeah, by the way, I initially thought you couldn't sequence break this thing, but, yeah, apparently you can if you just remember the sequence, so, yeah, I guess maybe I kind of fucked up when I was recording this, because, I mean, I did a test playthrough where I tried to get it beforehand just to speed things along, but, no. Apparently you can go through it. I'm just a dumbass, and it seems that, there's a creature lurking in this. Not one you're gonna be facing for a while if I could jump the gun a little bit, but one that... Well, again, you're not gonna be seeing it in this part, but... It is lurking around someplace, and its presentation is quite creepy. Like with the torture devices.
They haven't seen use in a while, but they'll be used on you, Caroline.
And anyway, before we examine more plot things of plottiness, yeah, let's have a look at the newspaper article basically telling us, well, what the town heard about the disappearance of Anna and Emma Wildberger. Well, they were lost. Those poor children. But yeah, basically the short and sweet of what happened in the aftermath is that, well, again, we obviously know that Anna Wildberger was basically hidden away somewhere in this mansion, and Maria was also held captive somewhere else, pretty much being restrained in the hospital and given doting care by William Wildberger. And she seems to have been driven quite mad. But we don't have time to think about that now, so on that note, I'm Solidus Skully, keeping new metal, and next time on the Tormented Souls commentary, well, seems that Caroline's gonna be one step closer to solving this.
These girls are the same twins as those in the photo. The ones that will awaken the devil are ready for their operation. It seems like the girls are being prepared for some kind of surgical procedure. If I don't find them soon, something terrible might happen. The plaque says Anna and Emma.